Hey there everyone, I'm back with another tips video. I'm almost done with my first playthrough of Metaphor ReFantazio and it's been a blast. And while playing the game, I've figured out a few tricks that not everybody might know about. So I'm gonna share them here. And most of these tips that I'm gonna give should be helpful all throughout the game. So no matter where you are currently, you might want to watch this one. Okay, to start off, let's take a look at Overworld Combat. Before engaging in turn-based squad battle against monsters, you can stun enemies to gain combat advantage. Always a good thing to aim for, and it usually takes a few hits to reduce the monster's break gauge to stun them. But if you hit them while you're undetected, you'll do a critical hit that does more break damage. And you can easily do this by sneaking up behind the enemy. If you lock onto them from the rear, you'll dash in and attack, and it's enough to stun them with just one hit. Awesome. Only for small monsters though. Bigger monsters take a lot more hits to stun, and one strike even with a critical isn't enough. That is, unless you do this. The main character has a 3-step attack string, like so. Changing your archetype will also change your weapon, but they all have a 3-step string like this. And the thing to keep in mind here is that the third attack is more powerful than the rest. Thing is, you can do the whole string with a few gaps in between, and you can complete the string even without a target. So what you can do then is this. Preemptively do the first 2 attacks on air, then before you do the third string, you lock on to dash with your third attack. This will do much more damage than just attacking like usual. Plus, depending on your weapon, you might only need one hit to stun any enemy. Just make sure you're attacking from behind to guarantee that critical. It's not enough to just hit them from the side. Note that the overall effect is weapon specific. Generally, strength weapons work better, like the Seeker's Sword or the Monk's Punches, while magic weapons and those that hit multiple times are inferior. Heavy weapons also function differently. Instead of the third attack, it's the first that's the most powerful. So if you're using those weapons, you don't need to do this trick. Ranged attacks, however, can take advantage of this because you can't do the string without locking on. As the game goes on, you'll run into more and more big enemies that you can take advantage of this trick to stun them, gaining you combat advantage much more safely. But sometimes you just slip up and get hit. The enemy gets the first turn and you might just get wiped because of it. Well, for the second trick, you can mitigate this damage even before it happens. What you do is change the party screen to change the row your characters start in every combat. And there's really no reason to not put them in the back. This way everyone will take less damage in case you get ambushed, and when time comes that you want to do a physical attack, you can just move to the front row. We don't have to stop there though. Let's combo this off with a boon from the Commander archetype. Here's this bonus you get from raising the follower rank to 4. It's called Protective Formation, which will further decrease the damage you take when everyone's in the back row. And the reduction is actually quite significant, so much so that it actually becomes easy to survive ambushes. Still, when you get ambushed, your best course of action is usually to escape. After all, you're missing out on the extra damage from combat advantage. But attempting to escape will cost you your whole turn, and if you fail, the enemy gets another full turn against you. And I don't think I have to display the dangers of letting your enemy take 2 turns in a row. It would be better then to use your turn icons first to heal up or defend. You have 3 or 4 of them after all. And once you patch up, you can just try to escape with your very last icon. It doesn't really affect your chances of escape. So healing up before trying to run is just going to improve your chance of survival. Okay, on to the third tip. Archetypes in this game max out at rank 20, which will unlock their final skill. However, the archetype itself doesn't stop gaining experience. When the bar fills up, instead of ranking up, you get this item called Hero's Leaf of Light, a consumable that gives 1000 archetype XP. Now, some archetypes, like the Faker, level up at a slower pace, but this does not apply to rank 20. For all archetypes, it only takes 1000 XP to fill the gauge. And what this essentially means is you're turning your archetype XP into consumables. This is useful for a couple of reasons. When you unlock a new archetype, they're not necessarily as useful as older ones you already have, since they'll start off with very few skills. What you can do then is just keep the old archetype equipped. Play the game as normal, but instead of leveling up, you'll stock up on Leaves of Light, which later on you can use on other archetypes. Then, once you've raised the rank of your desired archetype a few times, you can make the switch. Another use for this would be just pooling your XP into one specific archetype of one character. Let's say all your characters have maxed their current archetype, so at maximum this will generate 4 times as much leaves, and then you can just use all you gather into only one character's archetype. You can use this mechanic to quickly fulfill the quest requirements to rank up your Seeker follower. But in general, it's also just better to have your archetype XP and item form, so that when the time comes that you want to get a specific archetype or skill, you're well stocked to do so. And finally, for number 4, I want to talk about these Campfire Bugs. When you're out on the open road in your Gauntlet Runner, you'll be presented with chances to camp out during the night. The usual Gauntlet Runner activities are there, but one thing that's exclusive to this scenario is the campfire. Examining it will give you an insect, either a Lumi Bee or a Dream Eater bug. The campfire is the only reliable way to get them, at least until the endgame, but their usefulness can't be denied, which, like me, you may have missed. They're used to cook up fantastic MP recovery items. Once you unlock your 4th party member, you can use the Dream Eater mods to cook up some magical bread. You'll also need some Moroconi meat, which you can buy from this butcher lady, and a couple of rock beans from this girl right here. Both of these NPCs can be found in Martyra, so they're accessible by the time you recruit your 4th party member. As for magical bread, it's an item that heals MP while you're exploring. Over the course of 60 seconds, every single party member you have will recover a total of 48 MP. Which isn't bad for this point of the game. The description says it takes effect while walking, but that's actually not true. You can actually just stand in place and maybe get some water while the effect goes off, or just continue exploring normally and attack enemies while it's active. You'll still regenerate MP. The Lumi Bees, on the other hand, come into use when you get your 5th party member. This unlocks the recipe to cook something that's called sweeter than poison ... and this one has an instantaneous effect. It's 200 MP for one party member, which is also not bad. The other ingredients you'll need are white peach turnips, which you can get from this guy in Virga Island. And next are gauntlet shrooms. The only place to get them is from the pantry in the Gauntlet Runner. Normally, you can only check the pantry once a day, but if you really need the shrooms, you can just reload the save and try again until you get them. Same goes for the Campfire Bugs, although the bug you get is determined upon loading the scene, so saving and reloading in front of the campfire itself won't work. Lumi Bees glow blue and the Dream Eater moths are red. The moths become useful at an earlier time in the game, but I think the Lumi Bees are quite good as well. The boons you get from ranking up your healer follower will also help with cooking. At rank 4, you can cook without passing time, and at rank 7, you'll get an extra stock of whatever you cook. MP items are scarce for most of the game, so these should help you quite a bit. By the endgame, Lumi Bees and Dream Eater mods become available in the Grand Trad item shop, so by then, you won't have any worries with MP. And that's about it. Only a few tips this time, and I hope you find it helpful. If you did, leave me a like, it'll help me out a lot. I plan to do some Metaphor ReFantazio challenge runs in the future, and also make some animations about the game, so subscribe if you want to see them in the future. Thanks for sticking with me, I hope you have a lovely day, I'll see you next video.